So I now recognize Mr. Guest for his 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ballard, my wife and I several weeks ago had the opportunity to see the movie based upon your life, your experience, The Sound of Freedom. I want you to know it was a powerful movie, a movie that left us with a powerful line, a rallying cry, if you will, that God's children are not for sale. But we know as we say those words, we know that human trafficking is real. Your movie, the movie about your life, depicted the realness of that. We know that there are statistics that show us that the average age of exploitation is 12 to 15 years of age. That each year the number of cases in the United States involving sex trafficking increases. We know that sex trafficking is the second largest criminal enterprise in the entire world. And we know that every 30 seconds a child is sold into slavery. Those are staggering statistics concerning the problem that we are trying to deal with. I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that you have in your report briefly. You talk about the fact that a child can be sold up to 20 times per day, 6 days a week for a decade or longer, depending upon the age of the child. We know that individuals who are selling narcotics, that those narcotics can be sold a single time, but a child can be sold time and time and time again. You also talk about in your report polling, which I think is important to members of Congress, to talk about the opinion of the American public. What does the American public think on a specific issue? And you say that the American public realizes that ending human trafficking is important, that it is an unprecedented human crisis, and that Americans support closing the southern border. You also talk a little bit about the fact that in the United States that we are the highest consumer of sex abuse content in the world, that we are the demand for this growing criminal enterprise. And then you tell a story about a young lady that you were involved with and helped rescue in New York City, that she had been sold and raped 30 to 40 times a day for 5 years, and eventually she escaped from her captors. And you talk about the fact that that when she came into the country, that she came not through a port of entry, but she came through an unsecured part of our southern border. And then you go to make what I think is a conclusion here, that we have poor U.S. border security, that we have a broken U.S. policy, and that we are feeding the growth of human trafficking. And you go on to talk about the absence of a physical border, and that is contributing to this problem. The clip that you showed in your opening statement showed a very powerful part of that movie where you were able to rescue this young child as his captor was bringing him into the United States for the purpose of entering him into the sex trafficking industry. And then you go on and you finally conclude requiring people to enter our border at actual ports of entry is very effective in combating human trafficking. And so briefly, Mr. Ballard, can you talk a little bit about the importance of requiring individuals to enter ports of entry, about the screening that can be done, about the number of cases of human trafficking that could be stopped if we would just physically secure our border and require individuals, all individuals who are entering the country, to come through ports of entry?
Yes, thank you, Congressman. Speaking of the men and women wearing the blue uniforms, that's where they are. They are at those ports of entry. They are experts. They have technology. They know what to look for. If a child has their last hope to be rescued before entering into the belly of what is the highest consuming nation on the planet of child rape videos, their last hope will be to reach out to one of those heroes in a blue uniform. Help me. And they will. I've watched them do it. I've been part of it. And so we need border enforcement because it compels the movement to that final point of possible rescue. Why would we not want that? Why would we not want every child to have the last hope of rescue before entering into the great United States and disappear maybe forever? And so that's why. And what's interesting is it's never been partisan I was under two different administrations, Bush and Obama, and we kept building the wall and building enforcement, and everyone liked it because it saved children. It wasn't partisan. How it became partisan is something that I don't understand. It should never have been. It rescues children, period.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
The gentleman yields. I now